Hey everybody, I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and this is my detailed review and install of the Heartthrob 4-inch aluminized steel catback exhaust system, available for your 2015 and newer 5-liter powered F-150. Alright, in this video, I'm going to cover a lot of ground with this system, including what kind of sound you can expect out of your Coyote-powered rig with the Heartthrob in place. We're also going to break down the construction and materials from this very affordable system, and finally, we will cover some of the bigger points of the actual installation process. And right up front, I can tell you, depending on your cabin bed size, there might be the smallest amount of cutting needed, but it's one cut, very straightforward. Anybody should be able to do it. So I'm sticking with 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter with some more detail later on in the video. So the 4-inch aluminized steel version that we have here from Heartthrob should appeal to the Coyote truck owners out there looking to go with one of the most affordable large diameter systems for their more modified setups, and one that will appeal to truck owners out there who might not be concerned with having the flashiest materials or a finished appearance right out of the box. With all that said, this is also going to be a very tame system in regards to overall volume, both inside and outside of the truck, which I think does make it appealing as well. I do want to stay on the topic of sound here with the Heartthrob because this was a system I was very impressed with. It delivered a very unique tone on our EcoBoost powered trucks here at the shop, and it really did the same with our V8 powered truck as well. It's a higher pitched tone overall, and again, one that really wasn't all that loud despite the larger diameter. So what does this all mean when it comes time to talk about your neighbors? Well, again, this isn't the loudest system out there. We've covered that quite a bit by now. And going to my Wake the Neighbors scale, I have this coming in at a soft 3 out of 5. And honestly, guys, I struggled to get even there. Keep in mind, a 1 is essentially going to be your factory exhaust system. You might think this thing will be a boomer from that larger diameter tubing, but it's just simply not the case here with this system. You do hear it a little bit on the inside of the truck while cruising, but again, really not overpowering by any means. But let's move away from the sound and talk a little bit more about the construction, appearance, and materials here with the Heartthrob, and this is where things get a little interesting with this system. I mentioned earlier, this is a bit unfinished, and it's certainly not going to win you any beauty contest sitting on the table here, but keep in mind, guys, this is an exhaust. It's going to live underneath your truck. You're only going to see probably 1% of this entire system while it is on your truck, and after all, you have to keep in mind the #1 factor you should be considering when buying an exhaust system should be sound, and of course performance as well, which this thing will deliver depending on your application. You also have to factor in the price here as well. $400 is really all you're dropping for the Heartthrob, which again, don't expect the same level of quality of build materials as Borla or Corsa, for instance. You are getting full aluminized steel tubing here with this system, a very small amount of 3-inch tubing before stepping up into that 4-inch diameter that this thing is advertised as. All of it mandrel bent, and it does exit, or pass through rather, this Velocity Series muffler here from Heartthrob. Full disclosure, guys, this thing doesn't include a tip. So basically, you're going to be getting a 4-inch piece of raw aluminized steel dumping right behind that passenger side rear tire, which again goes back to that unfinished word I used a little bit earlier. If you wanted to, you could definitely buy an aftermarket tip online, spice things up a little bit, or you can just leave it unfinished, totally up to you. Well, let's go back and talk about that Velocity Series muffler here from Heartthrob, because it is going to be the #1 force or the #1 influence when it comes to shaping the sound with this particular system. This is a double wrapped shell muffler, which basically means it's going to keep the volume down according to Heartthrob, and that does seem to be the case here with this system. You heard the sound clips, you can judge there. Now, if you were to blow the top off of this thing, you'd find 3 separate baffles or chambers with the Velocity muffler. You got 2 on the end here and a V-shaped baffle in the middle, which Heartthrob claims is going to help keep some of the drone down while cruising on the highways. I've putted around in the truck with this thing installed. Happy to report it seems to do the job just fine. But let's move into the installation here with this system, and as I mentioned at the very top of this video, there is going to be the smallest amount of cutting needed depending on your cab and your bed size, but again, it's one cut. As long as you take your time, follow Heartthrob's very detailed instructions, get your measurements down correctly, you should be banging this thing out no problem. So therefore, I am sticking to 1 out of 3 wrenches on my overall difficulty meter, maybe an hour or 2 in the garage or shop before you're making some noise. As far as tools needed for the installation, basic socket set is going to be the biggie here. In addition to that cutting tool, if you do need to actually trim the system, I like using a Sawzall with a fresh metal blade, but you can use whatever you have laying around the shop or garage. Now, reference those instructions first before getting started with the install, because you will need to determine if you need to cut. So just make sure you know your wheelbase before getting started. Check those directions out. If you do need to cut, now will be the time to do it. Once your cut has been made, go ahead and work on removing that factory system so you can get the new Heartthrob in place. You remove that forwardmost clamp, and then basically the entire system will drop after you remove those hangers. This thing is one piece. It can be a little big and bulky to move around by yourself. So if you have a buddy around the shop, now would be a great time to grab him. With the factory system out of the way, you can get to work installing the new Heartthrob. They recommend starting from front to back. I think it's a great idea. Get everything hung, get all your hangers and clamps in place before your final tighten up, and you should be good to go. As for my final thoughts on the Heartthrob, well, for an EcoBoost truck, this is one of my best bang for your bucks on the site. For the Coyote powered truck, on the other hand, I think the 4-inch diameter tubing might be on the verge of overkill for an otherwise stock or naturally aspirated setup. Sure, the fit and finish leave a little bit to be desired, but the sound is going to be very unique, and you're really not dropping a whole lot of dough to get this system. So that is my review of the Heartthrob 4-inch aluminized steel system, which you can find right here at AmericanMuscle.com.